It's Friday, April 12th, and this is TICTOC. A big hello to all of our listeners. I'm Andrew Mock, and this is your TICTOC podcast with the global news you need to know. Today we're talking about Amazon Alexa and the recent report that workers are listening in to what you tell the smart home device. The company reportedly employs a global team that transcribes voice commands and feeds them back into the software to help improve its services. Naturally, the news has sparked numerous privacy concerns, including this from Dan Gilmore of the ACLU.
It's not enough to engineer these devices well to make sure that you don't accidentally pick something up. If people want to be private, it's pretty important to take a second look around you and look at all of the systems that you have in place and consider, is the advantage that they give you really worth the privacy risk?
So why is Amazon listening in? Joining me to unpack this story is Matt Day. He's a technology reporter for Bloomberg News in Seattle who got this scoop. Matt, thanks for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
So let's start with that obvious question. Why is Amazon listening in?
So Amazon is listening in short, to improve their product, right? I mean, a lot of the marketing around Alexa and all of the other voice assistants talks about how, they rely on cutting-edge technology that sort of automatically parses responses and is, very good at understanding human language. But the kind of open secret in the industry is that much of that work is done by humans, right? That system sort of cannot exist without, in some cases, humans annotating data and kind of fixing the gaps when something goes wrong.
So you talk about this open secret in the industry. Who are these employees? What do we know about the teams Amazon is paying to do this?
So we know that it's a mix of both full-time workers at Amazon and contractors, and they're spread pretty widely around the world. Most of the Alexa work on the software is headquartered in Boston for the speech recognition that we're talking about here. They also have labs in Costa Rica and Romania and India. And it's kind of a wide variety of people in our understanding. There's, some of the raw transcribing of your voice recordings is done by, college grads and sort of recent entrants into the workforce, and then there's some higher level, data mining that, you might require an advanced degree or a PhD. So kind of a wide collection of humanity doing this transcription and this analysis.
And help us understand the breadth of how many workers are listening in and how many people they're listening to.
So we're really not sure. A source of ours and Amazon both say that it's only a very small portion of all Alexa queries that get transcribed and fed into this system. But there's a tremendous volume of stuff being said to Alexa around the world. Amazon says it's billions of queries a month, so presumably there's at least millions of transcriptions being made. We're also really not sure exactly how many people are doing this work of transcription and analysis. We believe it to be in the thousands. Amazon wouldn't confirm a specific number, but our reporting has proven that out. That it's a pretty large and pretty globally spread team.
And what do we know about where this data is being stored?
We don't know a ton. Amazon in their statement to us has said that it's, they take all the steps they need to safeguard their data and restrict access and make sure stuff is encrypted. They were keen to be very explicit about that, I think, for obvious reasons. But our reporting hasn't turned up a whole lot more detail on that. One of the things we did discover, though, is sort of not sure whether this is Amazon policy or not, but in some cases, the employees doing this reviewing are sharing recordings or sharing links to recordings to get help with parsing a word or in some cases to share something funny that got caught up by Alexa's recording.
And I think for most of our listeners who come across this story, this sounds very alarming. What backlash have you come across?
It's been a real mix. I mean, I think the industry would say this is so obvious, everybody knows this, but clearly the reaction on Twitter and other news media picking this up suggests that is far from the case. People just didn't have a sense this was going on. I mean, some certainly suspected, but just to have it confirmed, I think has surprised a good deal of folks. I mean, it's a wide range. Some people say, hey, listen, these are the trade-offs we make to get these kind of services, and I don't care. I trust Amazon with my information, and for that matter, Google and Apple, who do similar work. These are among sort of the most trusted companies anywhere, particularly Amazon. They routinely rank higher than most government agencies and other companies in trust rankings. So they say, hey, listen, if Amazon's got it, that's fine. On the other hand, there's folks who've taken to the internet and say, hey, this is a great reason to not buy one of these, or I'm unplugging it in response.
And are there any examples of the things we know that these people have heard?
Things we know that they've heard, yeah. So it's again a whole wide range of humanity. One of the anecdotes we wrote in our story was, a woman singing badly apparently in the shower, got passed around a chat room. There've been some cases that have disturbed people. Hearing what a couple of reviewers said appeared to be a sexual assault to their ears. In other cases, just babies crying. Just sort of the wide swath of life that might accidentally get caught up. When you have a recording device sitting in the home.
Interesting. I wonder if these workers were to come across something that's potentially illegal, do they have the responsibility to turn that over to the authorities? Is that a breach in any way?
That is a super gray area. There's certainly been in the United States a few cases where, over the course of investigating a crime, police have gone to Amazon and said, hey, we know this person had an Alexa device in their home. Can we get the recordings to see if there's anything that would indicate, serve as evidence for our investigation? And Amazon has, to varying degrees, fought those. But we haven't heard of any case where Amazon has proactively gone to authorities with anything they've picked up on one of their devices. They say that employees who hear something disturbing, there is a policy for flagging that internally. Amazon would not go into great detail about what that policy was. They say, only that it exists. But, again, we don't have examples of, any case where Amazon has kind of proactively taken it upon themselves to act based on something their reviewers picked up.
And let's talk about the need for this in the first place. Obviously, we all want our machines and systems to work better, but is Alexa that bad to begin with?
I think Alexa is pretty good, and Amazon's contention that people are only brought into the loop in rare cases. Other experts say that's almost certainly the case. I think there's just some things that machines cannot pick up automatically, right? They're getting better all the time, but say there's a regional colloquialism that just doesn't show up in a big set of training data based on the dictionary and television speech and all the other data that's being fed into training these systems. What if there's a new musical artist that Alexa's not familiar with? The system can learn some of those things, but in many cases it's either faster or more accurate to have humans go in and tag, hey, here's Taylor Swift, the musical artist, you should probably know that name, rather than ask the software to kind of learn on its own. There definitely is a role for humans in training these systems. And to be clear, it's not just Amazon using it. Our reporting indicated Apple and Google are doing some of this work, and Google for years has kept humans in the loop to review some search data and other pieces of their algorithms.
I know that there's specifically a setting that lets you turn off the option to share your data with Amazon. How do you do that, first of all, and does that really solve the issue?
It doesn't. It doesn't at least eliminate the chance that you might be reviewed by a human being. You can go into your Alexa privacy settings if you have one of these things. There's a web-based dashboard that you can click through, and you can use that to review your voice recordings. You can delete them there. That's really the only way to make sure that there's no human in the loop potentially reviewing a small slice of your stuff. You can also, Amazon offers a toggle for using your recordings in the development of new features. You can disable that or enable that at will too. But a note, if you disable that, it doesn't necessarily mean that Amazon might stumble upon and review one of your recordings over the course of regular quality assurance. It only just eliminates the chance that they use it for developing a new feature or testing a new feature.
And I wonder how secret the process of recording is. I mean, I know if I have my iPhone out and say anything remotely close to Siri, it wakes up and she starts talking to me. Are Alexa users getting that same prompt?
It's unclear. Amazon says they've trained the system and are confident that the system only reacts when Alexa hears the wake word. Default, that's Alexa. You can also set it to echo or computer or a custom word. But our reviewers that we spoke to uncovered a good number of incidents where there seemed to be no wake word in the recordings they reviewed. Right, a recording would start with a loud blaring TV, or a recording would start with some unintelligible loud noise. So there's clearly some incidents of accidental activation, and it's unclear whether people who are being recorded know that. Amazon says, and we've got no reason to doubt them, that the blue ring at the top of the Alexa lights up in any case where the device begins streaming to the cloud. But sometimes people might not notice that if the thing was activated accidentally.
Amazon is obviously defending this practice. As you said, it's an open secret in the industry. Is the bigger message here just the reality check of it, in that you may think you're talking to a computer, but in a lot of cases it still takes humans to make these computers work?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's been just a ton of marketing spin and hype around advances in artificial intelligence and the abilities of machines to learn and spot patterns on their own. And, it's all kind of portrayed as this giant magical experience. And in many cases it is, right? But, when it comes to basically any advanced algorithm, there's probably some human being in the loop at some stage, whether it's training it, evaluating it, checking in when something goes wrong. Your conversations with an AI are, not strictly with a machine all the time.
And real quick, is Amazon going to change this?
I don't think so. I would be curious to see if they do anything more to disclose the existence of humans in the loop, which they don't really talk about much at all. But I think it's to be determined at this point whether they do anything.
All right, that's all very good to know. Again, I've been speaking with Matt Day. He's a Bloomberg News technology reporter in Seattle. Matt, thanks for speaking with me today.
No, thanks for having me.
Turning now to other news of the day, here's what's happening. President Trump's ban on transgender soldiers in the U.S. military took effect today. The 14,000 openly transgender people currently serving will be able to continue their service if they get a formal diagnosis of gender dysphoria. Several outstanding lawsuits are challenging the ban, including one from Lambda Legal. Camilla Taylor is an attorney for the group.
Regardless of what the practical effect of the Trump administration's discriminatory policy is, it's shaming to trans service members. It sends them a terrible message about their fitness to serve, and it's completely disrespectful. They're putting their lives on the line for us, and we are treating them as though there's something unworthy about them.
Sir David Attenborough gave a strongly worded warning to policymakers that time is running out to save the planet from the effects of climate change. Speaking at the IMF's spring meeting in Washington, the former British broadcaster and vocal supporter of environmental activism told Chief Christine Lagarde that the clock is ticking to take action.
The longer we wait to do something about it, the worse it will get. So the urgency with which we deal with it could not be exaggerated. But the longer we leave it, the more difficult it will be to do something about it.
And finally, Walt Disney has unveiled its Disney Plus streaming service. It's set to launch November 12th and will cost $6.99 a month. That's $4 cheaper than Netflix's most popular plan. The service will include classic animated movies and original series from the company's most popular brands. And even though it's late to the streaming game, Disney CEO Bob Iger says he's confident Disney Plus will be a success.
Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic. These are brands that are just beloved and that have a long history of serving the consumer for many, many generations and are still popular and still relevant.
That's your TikTok update for Friday. You can find out more about all of these stories everywhere we are. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and check us out on Instagram @TikTok. Thanks for listening. I'm Andrew Mock, and don't forget to tune in every weekday for all the global news you need to know.